Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Astrology with your friend Gretchen Hidell, full-time astrologer, life coach, Reiki master, and so much more. And I am here tonight on Facebook, and I'm also going to be cross-posting this to YouTube. So if you see me looking up and down, it's because I am working two cameras here. I haven't figured out how to multi-live stream yet, but it's on my list of things to do in 2023. Welcome everybody who is joining me live. This week in astrology is going to be interesting. I have a few things to cover. It's not a hugely active week in astrology, but I just wanted to check in with you all on a Monday night and talk about some of the things that are coming up. We do have the last quarter, or sometimes it's also called the fourth quarter lunar cycle, coming this week in Virgo. So I'm going to go over that. And there's a few sprinkled in there astrological transits that are happening this week that are good to know about. So welcome. Hi, everybody. If you're just joining, go ahead and post your name, your astrological sign, and where you are tuning in from, what part of the world. Love hearing everybody that's joining. And the other thing is, the other big thing is that Ceres, which is actually a dwarf planet, Ceres is on the move this week, and she's going to be moving into the astrological sign of Libra. And so that's the big headlines for this week. So the cool thing is about this week is there's not a huge amount to report, but we're going to go over some things, and maybe this broadcast is not as long as it usually is. I'm also going to be pulling angel cards and answering any questions that you guys might have. Welcome who's joining. Melinda, hi Melinda, Capricorn from Vermont. Rita, Virgo from Colorado. Gloria, Cancer in Florida. Welcome that are joining me live tonight here on Facebook, and also I am cross-posting this on YouTube as well. It'll be pre-recorded on YouTube. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, please go over to my YouTube channel under my name, Gretchen Hidell, and go ahead and subscribe to my videos, because then you'll get notified as I post new videos, and as they arrive, you'll be the first to hear about it. So welcome. So I'm really glad you guys are joining me tonight. Go ahead and hit that like button, because that starts to get the algorithm rolling, and post your astrological sign in the comments below. I love hearing where you guys are tuning in from. So today, I'm just going to jump in. Today, it was an interesting day, 12-12-22. There's some numerology kind of stuff going on there. We had a lovely transit between the sun is sextiling Saturn, Sun sextile Saturn today on Monday. And this is the day of the broadcast, 12-12-2022. And wow, it was such a nice transit. Sextiles are kind of interesting in astrology because astrologers say that you can't really feel them too much. I think we feel them. It's just that kind of things work out, things go as planned. There's green lights all the way on the way to work, or, you hardly hit any traffic, or, you get to the store and they have exactly what you need. That's what sextiles are like in astrology. They kind of produce just mild goodness, and that's what I love about them. And the sun in Sagittarius sextile Saturn in Aquarius. So Sagittarius is a fire sign, Aquarius is an air sign, so they get along, and that's why, fire needs air. That's why it's called a sextile, right? So because these two are getting along. Literally, it's Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston is an Aquarius, Brad Pitt's a Sagittarius. And so we have these two that get along, and even Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, even though their romantic relationship didn't work out, they are still friends. And I think that's kind of like a very indicative thing of a sextile, right? They just get along. So the sun is kind of like our ego and how we operate. And then we have that Saturn energy. Saturn can be a pain in the you-know-what. He's like a grumpy old curmudgeon-y guy. But Saturn helps us to get stuff done. So if you had a lot of errands, I mean, today's Monday, and it's going to be active in the beginning of this whole week. So please, when you hear me saying Monday, the peak of it was today, 12/12/22 at 1:12 p.m. Eastern time. Earlier than that if you're out on the West Coast. But please hear me that this was active Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's going to be active for like the beginning part of this week. The peak of it, the maximum peak of it was today on Monday. But wow, it's just a nice transit. It's good for getting stuff done. It's good for like rolling up your sleeves and getting busy. Now, sometimes during Saturn transits, people say, the day is kind of boring. Not much happened. I just went to work and did what I was supposed to do and accomplished everything I was supposed to accomplish. That's what these transits are like. And even though it kind of seems like not a lot of news, it's really good for productivity, getting things done, setting goals. Now, even though this week there's not much going on astrologically, next week is going to be supersized times 100. There's a million, like next week, my broadcast is going to be like every day. There's going to be something going on next week. So I would say prepare now. Like we have Mercury retrograde coming at the end of this month on December 29th, 2022. It's the last Mercury retrograde of this year going into 2023. So we're starting the new year on a Mercury retrograde. So start preparing now. Like one of the things I did today was I actually had my car serviced. There was a little part that was recalled on the car and I took it in to get serviced because I don't want to have that service during Mercury retrograde. And, I always say to people, don't do something during Mercury retrograde if you don't want to have it a redo built into the whatever it is you're doing. So like if you're going to have a surgical procedure, you don't want to have a redo of a surgical procedure. So you don't want to do that. So it's one of those things that you want to think about. If you want to do something one and done and that is it, then do it before the retrograde starts. And so that's the heads up during this broadcast. This is a great time for preparing, backing up technology, preparing, for glitches and things like that, because Mercury retrograde is famous for that stuff. So Monday, we started off the week really well. Now, Wednesday is kind of a different energy. We have the sun again in Sagittarius. On Wednesday, the 14th of December, the sun in Sagittarius is going to form a square with a Neptune in Pisces. Sagittarius and Pisces are both ruled by planets that are not super great at details. Sagittarius is not really great at details. Neptune's not really great at details. Like this is like, so this energy on Wednesday that's coming in, again, this is the peak of the astrological is 12:10 p.m. and that's on Wednesday the 14th. And hello, everybody that's joining. If you are watching live, go ahead and post your astrological sign and where you're tuning in from. I'd love to hear from you. And like that like button. I can see a bunch of people liking the like button and giving me hearts, and I love that. I have a new feature on my lives that I guess you can give me stars. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if it's what it is, but but I turned it on because it seemed like fun. Anyway, okay, so the sun is going to form a square with Neptune on Wednesday. So where we had this very productive, more detail-oriented stuff on Monday, on Wednesday, it's the complete opposite. It's a little bit spacey. We might need to take a nap. It's like kind of not the details. It's sort of daydreamy and imagination and all that stuff. That's what the sun square Neptune one is like on Wednesday. So that's going to come at 12:10 p.m. is the peak maximum height of it during that day. But as this one starts to sort of dissipate, the other one starts to build, and then we have this new energy that's coming now. Sun square Neptune is way better for creative work, right-brained activities, dancing and yoga and meditation and painting a picture and sculpting something and all of that stuff. That's what Sun square Neptune is really good for. It's not great for, like, I don't know if you have to balance your checking account or do some kind of fine detail sort of work, then it's not so great. So it always is a little weird when that happens in the middle of the week, especially as we're trying to maybe be in the work week. And if we need to get a lot of tasks accomplished, that one's not very good for mental processes. It's more good for drifting and dreaming and imagining and floating. That's what Neptune transits are better for. Hi, Abby. How are you? Taurus Sun, Pisces Rising, Gemini Moon. Welcome. How did you fare with that big full moon last week? We had that big full moon in Gemini last week, and it was a lot of energy. I'm just going to say it was a lot of energy. I had a lot of people requesting sessions and a lot of people that were, kind of going through some difficulty stuff during that time. So hope you made out well. I guess one of the bigger things that's happening on Friday is we are going to have the last quarter lunar cycle. Now, you guys know who've been watching this, speaking of the full moon, you guys know that I call this the second chance full moon, and that's going to be on Friday. This is where we are now 1 week sandwiched in between the full moon and the next new moon. The next new moon is going to happen on Friday, the 23rd, December 23rd, a couple days before Christmas holiday. And so we're now in between that. So this Friday is basically going to be the second chance full moon. It's going to be coming at, let's see here. When is it going to be coming? Oh, sorry, overnight, from Thursday night to Friday morning at 3:56 a.m. Eastern time. So even earlier than that. So really like 12:56 a.m. midnight on West Coast. If you guys are watching from the West Coast, hey everybody, welcome. Abby said she stayed home with the full moon. Yes, probably a smart thing to stay home. Thank you everybody for all the likes and thumbs up. You guys are awesome. And tag a friend if you know somebody that wants to could benefit from watching this broadcast. So yeah, so we have the last quarter lunar cycle coming. It's going to be at 24 degrees Virgo. Okay, so if you are Virgo, and what happens, I should also say what happens during these, they're called quarter moons. So this is the last quarter moon, but actually it's so confusing because it's really a half moon. When you look at it in the sky, one half of it's going to be dark and one half of it's going to be light. That's what's called the quarter lunar cycle, or the last quarter lunar cycle. The sun is going to be squaring the moon during this time. And so it is considered to be a time that's a little bit stressful, because if you think about it, it's like we're extending the work, the purging, the releasing, the letting go from the full moon. We're releasing now in another layer, in another phase. So if you think about it in farming is the full moon, all the fruit is ripe and we're just picking the fruit off the vine. So if you think about the full moon, you're harvesting the fruits of your labor, okay? And then the last quarter moon, which is like the final straw, I guess, before the new moon comes, the farmer, instead of harvesting, now the plant is kind of spent. The plant is done, everything's starting to wither. So the farmer then clears the field. And so if you think about this, we're continuing the work of the purging, the releasing, the letting go of the full moon. And now we're really letting go on Friday. We're clearing those fields, and then we're getting ready to plant the new seeds on the new moon. But you can't rush this process. You have to, get the soil tilled and remove all the sticks and the branches and get rid of everything that's not working. So if you think about Friday especially, and they call it in astrology a time of crisis. I think crisis is maybe a strong word, but it's a time, I think, more of like a reevaluation where the farmer's going, what do I want to plant next year? What field needs to be tilled? Maybe I need to add a new field, or make a field smaller and only plant a small amount of crops. See, so the farmer might be reevaluating as he's clearing the field, or she is clearing the field to get prepared for the new seeds. It's a time where we're being asked to do that. So there's always like a reevaluation that comes. So expect that on Friday morning as we enter into our day, especially if you're on the East Coast, overnight. Thursday into Friday, the 15th and the 16th of December. And you'll be knowing, hey, Kristen, how you doing? Sagittarius in Vermont, welcome. And speaking of Sagittarius, the sun is going to be squaring the Virgo moon. So that's the other thing that happens during these quarter moons, is that the sun forms a square with the moon. So Sagittarius and Virgos, I hate to say, are not like natural best friends. Now you might say, ho, wait a minute. My best friend, I'm a Sagittarius, my best friend's a Virgo. Well, but they might have Leo in their chart, or they may have Sagittarius in their chart, or they may have Aries in their chart. That helps, okay, the friendship. I'm talking about the basic signs, Virgo and Sag. They're not natural. I just said Sagittarius is not very good at details. Sagittarius is more about, just, I don't know, let's wing it. We'll just figure it out as we go. And Virgo's like, we need a plan. We need to prepare. Virgo is very detail oriented, wants to have a plan. What's that saying? If you neglect to plan, then prepare, I'm sorry, if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. That is like Virgo's mantra, right? So and Sagittarius is like, I needed to pack a lunch, I needed to change the clothes, I didn't know about that. Sagittarius is like, well, I'll just go and pick it up on the way. And Virgo would not do things like that. So these two have a lot to learn from each other. The Sagittarius sun and the Virgo moon have a lot to learn from each other. And if those two could come together and meet in the middle, okay, Virgo has to loosen up a little bit and learn how to wing it a little bit, and maybe just have some spontaneous fun. Virgo's not as strong in that sector. And Sagittarius needs to plan, okay? Like, hello, just make a plan, some kind of a plan, even if it's a little bit of a plan, at least have like an outline of a plan. And then these two come together and they have a lot to learn from each other. So that's what the energy is on Friday. We're going to be like pulled in one direction and pulled in another direction. And that's basically what's happening. So that's why they call it a stressful time, because the two planets the two signs are not totally getting along. Hey, Darlene, welcome. She's a Taurus in Vermont. I happen to know that. Deb from Arizona, welcome. And Rita said yes, without a doubt. Yes, she knows about that Virgo energy. Rita's a Virgo. So there's that, some of that push and pull. Now, here's the catcher, and I feel like the universe sometimes does this to just have fun with us. Hey, Jen, welcome. On Saturday the 17th, it's interesting because we go right from that last quarter lunar cycle, which I don't know about you, but I always think that looks really cool in the sky when it's like half a moon, I think that looks neat. Especially since the sky lately, December sky here in North America is so like bright right now. But on the 17th, so we have this like sort of Virgo moon that's like really wanting us to prepare and all that, but it switches. The energy is very different on Saturday. Mercury is going to form a trine with Uranus on Saturday. Now, these two trines in astrology are positive. Okay, so we have Mercury in Capricorn now. Last week, if you remember, Mercury entered Capricorn on Tuesday the 6th. If you guys saw my video from last week. So Mercury is now in Capricorn, and like I said, it's preparing to start going retrograde on the 29th. So right now it's forming a trine, a positive trine with Uranus, which is still retrograde in the astrological sign of Taurus. So if you think about it, Taurus and Capricorn, they're both earth signs and they get along. They're BFFs, okay? So Mercury and Uranus are getting up to some shenanigans. It's like two best friends that are whispering in the back of the bus. It's like, uh-oh, what are they up to? And so Mercury and Uranus, I have nicknamed, and I think a lot of other astrologers call them the live wires of the zodiac, right? They're spunky. Both of them are quite spunky. Both of them can cause sort of issues with technology, bring up glitches, with cell phones and communication. But remember, this is more on the fun side. Like these two are like planning a like a fun outing or something together, and they're gonna get into some fun times. These two are BFFs, and they're getting into some shenanigans. But here's the thing: they're both in Earth signs, and Earth is grounded and practical, and again, more like Virgo, like grounded, and like let's not go too crazy here. Now, I think you guys have heard me say this before about Uranus. Uranus can really affect like volcanic activity and earthquakes and things like that. And right now, like I was reading this article, like almost all of the Earth's like volcanoes are showing some sort of like activity. Uranus, like the very, very day, many, many years ago, the very day that Uranus actually went into the astrological sign of Aries was the day of the big tsunami in Japan. Some of you guys might remember that. And then the day that Uranus entered Taurus, the volcanoes started erupting in Hawaii, like the day of it. And I had predicted that, by the way, on a radio show. Just saying. So now we have some more earthquake or tsunami activity happening on this weekend and going so we might hear of some like earthquake stuff going into the weekend. Now, if you think about these two though, and they are in earth signs, that's why I'm bringing up the earthquake activity, because they're both in earth signs. So, but this is about like our brain moving at like 50 miles an hour. This can make ADD symptoms worse. Like if you already have ADD or ADHD, or even if you're undiagnosed, but you kind of think maybe you might have a little trouble focusing. This is about like almost like taking like 10 cups of coffee, like without even trying, So you want to make sure you actually avoid stimulants on Saturday, avoid too much sugar or whatever else could be a stimulant, because that's going to make everything worse, or stronger if it, unless if you really have ADD, because actually paradoxically, it is said if you have ADD or ADHD, and I'm not giving any medical advice here whatsoever, I'm just saying what I've read online, and people that have told me, reported this to me, that if you have ADD, sometimes coffee can actually help those symptoms and make it better. But if you get jittery from coffee, you might want to stay away from that on Saturday, because those planets are going to be getting into some stuff. So that's going to peak, that the peak of it, the maximum of that is going to be on Saturday, the 17th, 2022, at 4:37 p.m. Eastern time. So again, what is that? 1:37 p.m. on the West Coast. But it's going to be active, also on Friday, like remember what I always say, these things definitely kind of go, up, and then they max out, and then they go down. So yeah. So Sarah said mushroom tea is your go-to. That's awesome. Melinda, yeah, I know, Melinda put the emoji face of like, oh no. Now I'm going to cover Sunday the 18th, because that's really when there's bigger news. And I have so much stuff to go over next week in next week's broadcast. I'm not going to do it tonight. That basically, and by the way, I love that you guys are doing the hearts and the thumbs up. Tag somebody that you might know. And yes, it's it's a thing. So, the big news that's happening on Sunday, the 18th, well, first of all, that's the day Hanukkah begins. So if you guys celebrate Hanukkah, anybody out there, happy Hanukkah to you. But the big astrological news on Sunday. Oh, and Kristen's birthday, everybody. Well, say happy birthday to Kristen. And now that we have some folks that have joined our live broadcast here, Also, I want to say that there is somebody on the broadcast. She didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Her name is Gloria. She has a pug named Brantley, who have been having seizures, and he's been really having he's been in and out of the hospital. So if anybody wants to send Brantley the pug really healing, wonderful Reiki or wonderful good vibrations. And we want to also say happy birthday to Kristen, who's a wonderful Sagittarius. She has a beautiful heart and beautiful soul and beautiful spirit. So happy birthday. I love this community. You guys are amazing. So let's get into Sunday. So Sunday on the 18th, Ceres, so she used to be called an asteroid, but now she's classified as a dwarf planet, which is the same thing that Pluto is classified as, a dwarf planet. Ceres is going to be entering into the astrological sign of Libra. And so is this a big, huge, major thing? No, but anytime any of the asteroid or the dwarf planets move, and anytime a planet moves into a new sign, it's a new phase, it's a new thing. And we feel these planetary shifts like people will go, I don't know why, I just feel different, or I feel, so we're going to be having a new layer, another layer that's going to be shifting. So Ceres all this time has been in Virgo, and now is going to be shifting into Libra. Now Ceres is in mythology and in astrology is nicknamed the Great Mother. Okay, so when you think about Ceres, you want to think of the archetype of the mom, and this is why I use asteroids and dwarf planets and some other things that other astrologers don't use, because a lot of the other planets, like if you think of Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto and Neptune and all the other planets, they're all men. They all have the archetype of male energy, and the asteroids and the dwarf planets are female. And so I think that that's a wonderful addition to the astrological repertoire, because we need a little bit of feminine energy, archetypally feminine energy infused into our lives. So when we think of the Great Mother, Ceres rules over food, how we nourish ourselves, nurturing, how we nurture ourselves, and how we also nurture others. So it's kind of fun to see what the deal is with her in your chart. I am going to try to attempt to draw her symbol backwards. So she's usually depicted, I'm doing this backwards on the fly here, people, so bear with me. But she's usually depicted as like a sickle kind of a deal. It almost looks like a question mark, I guess, in some way. Probably because of my wonderful artwork. But if you're looking for her in your astrological chart, you're looking for a symbol like this, and you might have to have a specialized program. On astro.com, you can find Ceres, Ceres, Ceres on astro.com if you ever wanted to know. Or of course, you can book an astrological session with me in order to find where Ceres is. But Ceres is where you nurture yourself and how you nurture yourself and how you nurture others. So when we think of the Great Mother, and its relationships with the mom, so whether it's good, bad, ugly, toxic, nurturing, wonderful, you can find that relationship with your own mom in your chart if you find the Ceres symbol. So it's important to know where she falls in your chart. But so everybody has Ceres. Everybody has a Ceres somewhere in their chart. And if Ceres is afflicted, meaning she's not functioning at her best in your chart, it is said that potentially those people can have eating disorders or problems with anorexia, bulimia, overeating, undereating, all those sort of eating disorder type things. As well as potentially a toxic relationship with a mom, or what we call the mother wound. That's where Ceres is in the chart. Or if she's functioning wonderfully, Ceres can, I'm going to talk about what she's kind of like in my chart for a moment. If she's functioning in a really good way, She can be, a wonderful mom and a caring mom and a loving mom and all that. So I personally have Ceres in my 10th house of career. And what a lot of people don't know about me is that pretty much, well, all throughout childhood, I was born and raised in a family that owned a bakery. So think about, Ceres and food and all that stuff. So I have always in my life, in some way, shape, or form, worked in and out of the food industry. And people know about my cooking and I'm a vegan and all that stuff. And I do a lot of stuff with food. In Vermont here, and I know some of you joining tonight are not natives of Vermont, but in Vermont here, Ceres actually is featured as the statue on top of our state building because Vermont is an agricultural state. And Ceres is the harvest, she's a harvest goddess. She's helps us with wheat and grain and all that stuff. So that's what the deal is with Ceres, and it's pretty cool. So if anybody has been to Montpelier, Vermont, and saw the gold domed building, there's a statue on top of that building, and that is Ceres, the Great Mother. And she is said to watch over the state of Vermont, which I think is pretty cool. So anyway, so she's moving into, so what does it mean for her to move into Libra? Well, first of all, where is Libra in your chart? And this is, when you think about the archetype of a Libra mom, this is a social mom. This is a fair mom. This is a mom who wants us to look pretty and have the house be pretty and everything's pretty, because if you think about, Venus is the ruler of Libra. So, that Ceres mom might be fashionable. She might be fashion forward. Definitely, if you think about a Ceres mom, you could think of Gwyneth Paltrow. She is, her sun and many, many planets in her chart are Libra. So she's like the Libra mom. So, and she runs a business, she runs Goop, as well as acting and as well as being a mom. So if you think of how we would nurture ourselves, well, this could be a mani-pedi, facials, any kind of like decorating our houses and all that kind of stuff. Ceres is going to end up being in Libra from December 18th all the way until March 23rd. So this is like a good chunk of time. And it's important she moves kind of slowly, but then she's going to go retrograde in February 3rd all the way until May 6th of 2023. She is going to be retrograde. So in the middle there somewhere, she's going to go from Libra back into Virgo, and she'll be doing that on March 23rd, and she'll be in Virgo from March 23rd until June 1st. So this is a long cycle. That's why it's kind of important to know where Ceres is in your chart. She's going to be so you want to look at two perspectives. I've had people contact me and go, I'm kind of confused about what I'm looking for. There's two perspectives. You're born with Ceres in your chart full time somewhere. So my Ceres, for example, is in Taurus, full time, always in Taurus. But then there's transiting Ceres, the Ceres that's like we're in Sagittarius season right now. So there's transiting planets. I'm talking about transiting Ceres, where she is. And what happens is we will all feel this as a flavor in our Libra Virgo sectors. We're going to be feeling this now. As a mom, as a Virgo mom, she was a little bit more nitpicky, a little bit more discerning, a little bit more fine details, make sure the house is picked up, make sure everything's organized. She really wanted everything to be perfect in Virgo. Now she's a little bit more laissez-faire, she's a little bit more she's on the move, she's more social, she's more of the social. Libra is definitely more of the social butterfly. And so wherever Ceres is in your chart, that's how she's going to nurture. She's going to nurture other people that way, and she's also going to nurture yourself that way in that Libra sector. So it's important to kind of know where she is and what she's doing. But this Libra energy also, remember, the life lesson of Libra is to find a relationship, to find a partnership. And it's about wanting, so having Ceres there in this Libra relationship oriented thing is that there's some mommy energy coming into our relationships. careful with mom relation. You know, we don't want to, especially if you're a female, you don't want to nurture in a way where you're killing, you know, that romantic, men, if you're heterosexual and you're in a relationship with a man, he's not going to want to be mothered, you know, unless if he has Ceres in his 7th house. If he has Ceres in his 7th house of marriage, some men then want that. They want to be mothered and nurtured in that way. But usually not. Usually that's turn off, not turn on. So it depends on where Libra is in the chart. Abby said, is anyone else frantically taking notes right now? That's amazing. I love that. Thank you. Melinda said, healing thoughts for, it's Brantley, the pug. Oh, thank you, Sarah, for tagging your friend in the comments. That's amazing. So with Ceres, and by the way, Libra is a flirt. Libra is a flirt. So Ceres is going to get our flirt on. You know, she's the great mom, you know, I love her mythology. I think she's kind of a badass mom. You know, if you ask me, she can be really quite powerful. And when things are not going well with Ceres, you know it. She can get quite unhappy. In mythology, she's actually was Jupiter's wife. Okay, so Zeus's wife. You know, in Greek mythology, Jupiter is Zeus. So she was Jupiter's wife, and she can be quite. She's a powerful goddess. So she's going to be in Libra. She's going to move, and she's going to give us that. Even if you're a guy, she's going to give us that goddess energy where she's a badass and she's going to be taking charge, and she's going to be doing all kinds of wonderful Libra series kind of stuff. And that's where she's going to nurture. Even the men will find themselves more nurturing and in their Libra sector. So that's what's going to be happening. So that happens on Sunday at 6:27 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:27 p.m. on the West Coast, and that will start our new Ceres season. But like I said, we are going to be coming up to Ceres retrograde between February and May, and then we're going to be reviewing mother stuff, reviewing mother wounds, reviewing the motherly kind of things that are in our chart. And when I say mother wounds, you know, we talk a lot about father wounds, you know, in sessions and in our charts and in psychology and all that. We talk about father wounding, but mother wounding is a big thing too. And I know a lot of people that have mother wounding, and where maybe their mom was angry, or maybe their mom was demanding, or maybe their mom was flat out abusive or even narcissistic. So mother wounding can be just as toxic as father wounding. And so this is going to be a time that, especially during that Ceres retrograde, and I'll talk about that more when we get closer to it, but that could really be a time to revisit those wounds. So, you know, sometimes our parents hurt us. They don't mean to. They're trying their best. They're doing their best. Just like we all are, even if the best is not super great, they're doing their best. So it's a good time to think about those types of things. And again, it might be cool to take a more deeper dive into your own personal series, to know where that is in your chart and how that affects you. But I can tell you, for everybody, depends on, is like, if you are a Libra, Ceres is going to be hitting all of your Libra stuff. If you're an Aries, Ceres is going to be opposing all of your Aries stuff, okay? Because Ceres is the opposite of Libra. Libra is the opposite of Aries. And if you're another air sign, so if you're a Gemini or Aquarius, just like Libra, basically that could activate all of your mothering, nurturing stuff in a way that's social, like networking with friends and all that kind of thing. You know, when we talk about social stuff, sometimes it's about creating gatherings, you know, like having brunch together, like having a happy hour together, or whatever it is that you like to do for social activities. I know it's winter, and those types of things. But it might be a good thing to kind of explore in your own personal chart. So yeah. So that's this week in astrology in a nutshell. Not as much going on. I'm going to give you a preview of what's happening next week, and then I'll cover that more in detail. So like I said, on the 18th, Ceres moving into Libra. On December 20th, Jupiter is going to be finally leaving Pisces and going into Aries. Now, Jupiter, whenever Jupiter moves anywhere, it's a big, huge, huge deal. We are at the final week of Jupiter in Pisces, and that's the last time for 12 years. So enjoy it while we can, that Jupiter in Pisces vibration. Then on Tuesday, it'll move into Aries, so that'll be a fun thing. Then on the 21st is the winter solstice, and that's when the sun moves into the astrological sign of Capricorn and the Yule. Okay, that's going to be on the 21st. And then we have on Friday, the 23rd, we have a super new moon, not just a new moon, a super new moon. Okay, it's only, I think, one of 2 new moons that are super new moons. And Chiron, which is another dwarf planet, Chiron is going to be turning direct. Chiron's been retrograde for many months. Then we have Christmas coming up. And so there's just a lot. So that is all the stuff. And then we are also preparing for that Mercury retrograde to start on the 28th or 29th. And that is going to be in the sign of Capricorn, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Or if you have any questions about what I just talked about, or any other things. And then I'm going to be pulling a card for the week, that I like to talk about that. But right now, we just have a lot of astrological energy that we just got downloaded with that big full moon Mars occultation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that was last week, but we got downloaded, okay? And that was a big download. So we might need a week to process. We might need a week to just kind of be a little more quiet. And we might need a week to kind of refocus and reground ourselves because, like I said, that was a lot of astrological energy hitting us all at one time. And it could have brought a lot of disruption into our lives, or bodies, or relationships, or jobs, or whatever it is. So we might need the dust to kind of settle a little bit. And these astrological weeks are always welcome. We have a little bit of quiet time, quote unquote, quiet time. But like I said, we are gearing up for next week to be a big week. And then that means there's going to be a lot more planetary energy being active. So I don't see any questions. Nobody is asking any questions. So I'm feeling guided towards my Saints and Angels deck tonight. And I will just pull one card for the week and call it a night. Oh, okay. Melinda. All right. So Melinda asked one question. She said, is it a good time to write manifestation list and when do we burn it? Okay. So here's the rule, Melinda. You write your list on the new moon, or like I said, the second chance new moon. And that's because if you think new moon is good for harvesting new things and bringing new things in your life. Full moons and the second chance full moon, which is happening this coming Friday, is all about releasing, purging, and letting go. So you burn your list on the full moon, you write your list on the new moon, and you burn it on the full moon. So when you ask me if this is a good time to manifest, think about what you want to manifest, leaving your life, purging, releasing, and getting rid of. And that's what this time is the best for. When the moon is full to the new moon, that's the release time. So if you think about if you want to lose, weight, or get rid of debt, or get rid of clutter, or get rid of a toxic relationship, or whatever it is that you want to have leave your life, this is the time to manifest that. So it's almost like manifesting in reverse. It's manifesting the purge, manifesting the release. So I hope that helps. Abby Jean said, thank you for doing this. I stumbled upon this. I'm looking forward to more. I'm so happy. Colleen said, disruption in health. Oh no, all the kids have been so sick in school. I know, Colleen, it's really been, and I talked about this on last week. We are still in Mars retrograde. Mars has been retrograde since the end of October and will be retrograde still until January 12th of 2023. So Mars retrograde often brings times of not feeling good, run down, low physicality, low, kind of blah feeling. And it's in Gemini, which is the lungs and respiratory system. So I was predicting that this winter was going to be bad for respiratory symptoms and like flus and RSV and all this stuff that's going around. So please be safe, everybody, and careful out there, because Mars retrograde is going to be creating some havoc with that. Oh, thank you. Kristen is sending lots of prayers and healing energy to Colorado, where my mom is. My mom, Rita, is on this broadcast too. She's been having some heart arrhythmia issues. So if anybody wants to send her lots of love and healing for her heart energy, that would be very welcome. Melinda said thank you. Well, I'm going to pull one card for the week. What do we all need to know? What do we need to know in order to... And by the way, you guys, I'm selling gift certificates now. This is the time of year. I am selling gift certificates and booking sessions still, but this is the big gift certificate time. So I don't have a great way to do it. I wish I did online, but you have to text me, and I will get you a gift certificate. I email them to you, and then it's a PDF, and then you can send it off to whoever, or I can actually email it directly to the recipient. So yeah, they make great holiday gifts. I always say, give the gift of insight. That is helpful to so many people who are struggling and need a little extra help right now. There's a lot of people right now that need some extra help. So give the gift of insight and share me with your friends and family. I am very flattered, so thank you. Okay, I'm going to pull a card. What do we need to know for this week? What do we need to know to help it? Ooh, uh-oh, had a fly out. Got to pick that up. Oh, all right. Saint Bernadette, speak your truth is the card. I'm trying to get this on both cameras here. I'm operating two cameras. That's why you see me looking up and down. Saint Bernadette is about speaking your truth with love. Okay. A lot of you, some of you, all of you may need to be more willing to speak up for yourself, while staying in integrity, while staying in kindness, while staying authentic to yourselves. This is about speaking your truth and doing so with love. I'm going to pull another one because that was a fly out. What do we know? We need to know in addition to that energy. What do we need to know? There's a lot of energy in the cards tonight. They're flipping out, flipping out all over the place here. Okay, optimism. That's good. We've had some really hard, astrological energy. This is our guardian angel. Okay. So Saint Bernadette was speak your truth. And then we have optimism from the guardian angel. That full moon was heavy. Second chance full moon can also feel heavy. But it's not all week. It's just Friday, coming. But it's about remember to have gratitude. Remember, you look at optimism, remembering to have gratitude, remembering to love. We have a holidays coming. We have Hanukkah, we have Christmas, we have Kwanzaa, and probably other holidays that I don't know about, but we have a lot of holidays this time. And remember loved ones, remember family, remember friends that can use your help, and that need some optimism, need some cheering up, because I think a lot of people are struggling. So we want to be able to have that and think positively that the cup is not half empty, it's half full too. So I think that'll help when we remember to remain optimistic, and we remember to also speak the truth, which means, don't always assume that your message that you're speaking, the truth that you're speaking, is going to be taken badly, or that there's going to be a bad outcome, or the person's not going to like what I say, or the person, a lot of times we get afraid to communicate our thoughts and our feelings, our authentic feelings, and the way we feel deep inside, we get afraid to do that because we're afraid of what that reaction is going to be. Oh my God, they're not going to like me anymore, and or they won't want to talk to me, or I might get fired, or whatever the thing is that we get afraid of. And so this is saying, speak your truth and think positively. Have as long as you can speak authentically without screaming and without raising your voice and without going, if you can stay in your power and stay calm and really speak from your heart and say, this is how I feel. I feel that, I'm bearing a lot of burden here, or I feel like I'm doing more work than other people, or I feel like I'm being taken for granted here. And I want, and what do you need? I want to have a little bit more recognition, or I want to have a little bit more. So state how you feel. I feel, and then this is what I need. And then stay optimistic, because a lot of people, especially people that are your loved ones or your friends, they want to help you and they want you to be happy. So remember that. Those cards are saying, remember that, speak your truth, and also think positively. Because if you have a loved one, they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know you were feeling that way. Well, let's help you. Let's come up with a plan that's more equitable and more fair. Ceres and Libra is about being equitable and also balance and fairness, right? It's the scales. Libra is the scales. So think about that. So I just want to leave you with that message for tonight. I hope that was helpful. You guys were awesome as always. Thank you so much for sending healing, loving prayers to Brantley the pug and my mom, Rita in Colorado. They are always appreciated. And those happy birthday wishes to our friend Kristen here in the Monday night community. All right, everybody. Well, you guys have wonderful holidays. Remember, I have gift certificates available, and go ahead and like my channel on YouTube if you have not already. All right, take care, everybody. Mwah. Bye. Have a great week.